feel good about where we are. We really do. I'm here to tell you tonight, we believe we're on track to win this election. We knew because of the unprecedented early vote and the mail-in vote that it was going to take a while. We're going to have to be patient until the hard work of tallying the votes is finished. And it ain't over till every vote is counted, every ballot is counted. But we're feeling good. We're feeling good about where we are. We believe one of the nets has suggested we've already won Arizona, but we're confident about Arizona. That's a turnaround. We also just called it for Minnesota, and we're still in the game in Georgia, although that's not one we expected. And we're feeling real good about Wisconsin and Michigan. And by the way, it's going to take time to count the votes. We're going to win Pennsylvania.
You are listening to Ada Jet Noise, and this is the Morning Flyby.
Morning, y'all. Morning after Election Day. What a long night. Any smart person went to bed, got some rest, said, they'll find out in the morning. Surprise! No one's been chosen yet. Such a weird night here in America. As the technology gets better and we promise each other civility. Promise each other civility. And a quick and easy and dedicated response to the American voter. We got what we got last night. What a debacle. And it was planned. It's a planned debacle. It goes back to the mail-in ballots. And what's ironic about all of this is that all states involved with, I'll use the word debacle again. I really want to use the alternative word for the poop emoji, but it got really interesting roughly around 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, because it seemed like everybody, it could have a lot to do with who we are as a people. We're like really pansy soft. That can be an excuse as to why we don't know who the president is this morning. Because much of it was like, we won't know until tomorrow. So Michigan promised their numbers at noon today. We'll see. Nevada. I'll talk about Nevada a little bit later. But look. All the numbers were rolling in very nicely, and then all of a sudden, they stopped. At one point, Arizona's numbers literally went blank. All trackers, whoever was tracking, whether news networks, professional election trackers, the Arizona numbers stopped coming in for about an hour, 40 minutes, an hour, roughly. They just stopped coming in? What's the little electronic machine doing? Or is it like, I don't know, like an episode of the Waltons, they just dropped off like, here's all the ballots, Walton family. You guys get back to us when you can. You drive down the results in your little old truck there. And we'll wait for you at the bottom of Walton's Mountain. You guys count. Make sure Mary Ellen or John Boy or who have you get it to us as soon as you can. Because that's as fast as Arizona was moving. But again, they weren't the only ones. But the irony is that all the swing states, not all, but most of the swing states, I should say, because Ohio came in strong, knew what they was doing, got to the bottom of it. Got their numbers in. We know Ohio stayed red this time around. They like themselves some Trump. Meanwhile, everybody else kind of hemming and hawing. Let me tell you what was going on behind the scenes as all this stuff was happening in the mad world of Election Day. A National Guard was brought to Wisconsin. National Guard was brought to Wisconsin poll workers to assist the Wisconsin poll workers in 2 counties, which kind of tells you where Wisconsin's at. According to the Fox News poll workers in Wisconsin, Outagamie and Calumet, you guys correct me on that, counties will transfer votes from at least 13,500 misprinted absentee ballots to clean ballots. They're literally, sounds like they're going to physically transfer ballot results from one piece of paper to another. That's what it sounds like to me. The outlet notes that this could possibly delay reporting of final results from the state. Wisconsin is looking at like Thursday or Friday. All the technology, again, all the things we've done to improve or to expedite or to protect these votes, and here we are. Again, as all this election debacle is going on, Ted Wheeler warns Antifa ravaged Portland of white supremacist violence and divisive rhetoric. Local law enforcement, Ted Wheeler. I just want to make sure you heard who that was. If you don't know who that, if you don't know who that is, I'll explain after I give you some details here. Local law enforcement has been working for several weeks to ensure we have adequate resources available to keep our community safe on November 3rd. Yesterday. We have canceled days off, put staff on call, coordinated across all cities, bureaus to prepare for a wide range of scenarios. Wheeler continued, given the heightened concerns about potential violence, particularly from white supremacists organizations and the divisive rhetoric from Washington, D.C., the need for coordination and partnership takes on statewide significance. Oregon is likely to be a flashpoint. This is interesting. And the reason it's interesting is because white supremacist is the word that Ted Wheeler is kind of batting around there, white supremacists, and the rhetoric coming out of Washington, D.C. All right. Oregon has been under attack by young white domestic terrorists since 2016. Literally, I can go back and find almost immediately a plethora of attacks in 2017 of that have been going on in Portland, simply because they're mad that Hillary did not win. And I say that it's not so much that they liked Hillary, but it was a one step closer to Marxism if Hillary would have won. Trump came in and threw a America First wrench into the works, messed up their whole socialist machine. So now we have this herd of unhappy little white kids carrying skateboards and bats. Who remembers the milkshake incidents? That was where they would use, I don't know, like a plaster and like urine and whatever they could mix that was disgusting, and it could quite possibly get you sick. They were using like the paper cups and making these milkshakes, and then they would throw them on you. It was kind of like the tar and feather kind of thing. So, but you were able to carry it in your hand. It's like tar and feather, portable tar and feather, pocket tar and feather. So that was a hot commodity. And then the skateboards came out because a lot of skaters like to get involved in stupid stuff. Not saying that skaters are stupid, but there is a rash of knucklehead skaters. And I take that back, because they really shouldn't be called skaters. They like to skate to get to wherever they're going because they're Marxists and they can't afford a car. So but the skateboards became a weapon. They turned skateboards into a weapon. Now they're bringing aluminum bats, umbrellas. They're making makeshift shields. You name it, man. They're throwing ice, frozen bottles. They're throwing bottles with urine, Molotov cocktails. You name it. That is what Portland has been experiencing since 2016, since Trump got into office. Meanwhile, Ted Wheeler is magically coming up with some white supremacists. Blaming Ted Wheeler was literally chased from his home. Literally chased from his home by the very Antifa and BLM people that he is protecting right now, that he is not blaming for the dire straits that his city of Portland is in right now. So you tell me where Ted Wheeler should be taken seriously at all when there is no white supremacists. And I've got wonderful, smart people that actually believe that the white supremacists are actually the ones tearing the places up. They believe that Georgia, Minnesota, Wisconsin, New York, Portland, Seattle, they believe that it's white supremacists because somebody told them it was white supremacists when it's clearly not white supremacists. Especially when the lovely mix of black children, and I will call them children, are mixed into the band of hostile, angry unexplainably angry white kids tearing up these cities. The footage is all over the internet. Now, if you choose to ignore that, that's on you. Ted Wheeler is choosing to ignore that because it is actually working in the favor of, well, I take that back. They think it's working in the favor of Democrats because they then can point back. This goes back to the rhetoric coming out of D.C. The division that is created by the Democrats, the left, that division is the one that they're saying Trump is creating, that the Republicans are creating, that the so-called right is creating. And I use right very loosely because, quite frankly, I like to joke and say that I'm a right winger, but that's only because y'all say it. That's what we are. But Ted Wheeler is blaming white supremacy and the Trump administration for his woes and any extended woes that'll happen as a result of the election. So right now, it looks good if you're a Trumper. It looks good for you as far as winning the election because right now in D.C., in New York, Seattle, Portland, they're mobilizing. Antifa and Black Lives Matter, are mobilizing. So feel good because they will know. They will know, and they will react. And we have to be careful as everyday citizens and Trump supporters, businesses, how we respond. We have to be very careful. Prepared is a very important word. So to Ted Wheeler, kiss my butt. Nevada will not announce results until Thursday. Now we're getting into the crux of stuff. Nevada will not announce results until Thursday. The state's elections division said that mail-in ballots received on election day, ballots are arriving by mail or over the upcoming week, and provisional ballots had not yet been counted on Wednesday. The only thing that is keeping the numbers coming in from Nevada is inexcusably slow counting of ballots. Indeed. However, most observers predict that Biden will carry the state. So it's interesting because any state that the news networks felt that was going to Biden was going to. They just called it. Just 3 votes in Biden. 4 votes in Texas. He won Texas. Biden won Texas. It was they had no problem doing that. So in this case, they're saying that Biden is probably going to carry the state, but they couldn't count it. They couldn't count it last night. Again, with all the technology in Florida came in, Texas came in, California came in, New York came in, Ohio, all those states are pretty big states and nice numbers. All those states came in with their numbers. How is it that Nevada cannot come in with their numbers? Meanwhile, they're saying that Biden's actually going to pull it out in Nevada, but they couldn't come out with their numbers, which is strange, which is kind of telling me that it's they're a little worried that Nevada's not necessarily doing what they want it to do. So you have to make some adjustments. Interesting adjustments in adjustments in sorry about that. So, adjustments in the in an election. That's ugly. That's ugly. Catholic schools, a little something different. Catholic schools in New York City opted for in-person classes, and now frustrated New York City public school parents are flooding the schools with applications. This is part of the whole election thing. Trump made it easier for the private schools to function, and in New York, Cuomo made it, and De Blasio made it incredibly hard for the public schools to function. So here we are. Here we are. The Archdiocese of New York received 2,000 applications. Michael Deegan, superintendent of schools for Archdiocese of New York, said that this school made the resumption of full-time classes a priority and that parents have been flocking because of it. So people want their kids in the schools. They don't want the remote learning. They want their kids in the schools. They need their kids in the schools for a lot of reasons. They want to go to work. The interaction, the face-to-face interaction, far more important for children and to learn than sitting at a computer by yourself. No hands-on. So, the parents want their kids in schools. Parents clearly were impressed with our detail and the depth and the specificity of our plan. He said that developed into trust and confidence that our parents have in our ability to manage this crisis. The Catholic schools in Manhattan, the Bronx, and Staten Island, have taken in 1,000 kids. Deegan pointed out that nothing can replace the intimacy between a teacher and a child 5 days a week. I must note that nothing can replace the social aspect of school, especially at a younger age. So, coronavirus messing with the schools. And as soon as they see the loveliness of a nice private school and the investment of it, and when they invest in a school, I can get something really good out this. I can out of investing in my child's education, as opposed to just getting the handout education. It's gonna hurt public schools. And then let's close out with how the campaign kind of looks so far. Again, this goes back to the swing states and the debacle that happened last night, and that we probably won't know until like 10 days from now who actually won. Now, again, Trump, I should say, has a lot more paths to win than Biden at this point. But let's do a little breakdown here. Biden holds a narrow lead in Wisconsin. Trump holds a narrow lead in Michigan. And Trump holds a substantial lead in Pennsylvania. However, officials in Michigan and Pennsylvania in particular have cautioned that the results in those states may not be ready until Wednesday. So hopefully that's the case here. But yeah, Pennsylvania looks really good for Trump. He's up by roughly 12. So it was at one point it was 15. If he wins by 5, there can't be any argument. There is no argument. If he's just under 5, you don't want that. But 5 and above, and right now again he's up by 12. He was up roughly about 15. I doubt that the gap can be closed. at that point. But news outlets have not officially called Georgia, North Carolina, or Arizona. Trump is considered the overwhelming favorite at this point to win both Georgia and North Carolina. North Carolina, he looks really good there. Georgia is in a battle, but I kind of think that's a media-made battle. I think they're just trying desperately to. I think they're trying desperately to hold on to Georgia. I don't think Biden has a real chance in Georgia. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying that I doubt highly that Biden is the favorite in Georgia. Biden is considered an overwhelming favorite in Arizona, though. Arizona, again, the state that just stopped counting ballots. I think they got a little squishy. Last night, and they certainly didn't want to give the impression. So we'll see where Arizona's at this. So if they got that squishy, we'll see where they're at. Fox News even called Arizona for Biden last night in a controversial decision that has been nonetheless strongly defended by the network's election analyst. Fox was horrendous last night. They were horrendous. They were just calling anybody. They were just calling anything. They just wanted to be the smartest kid in the room the entire time. Young Turks, they were funny. I wish I had the audio of the Young Turks, but maybe I'll pull that down because you have to hear that. What's his name? Jank Yuang or whatever. Jank your Wang. I think that's. I do want to play this soundbite though. One of the things that brought back that people seem to be concerned with was coronavirus and how it was being handled. And this entire time, all year long, well, I shouldn't say all year long, but most of the year, the media was trying to make it sound like there were a lot of people completely disappointed in how coronavirus was handled by this administration. And they got a interesting surprise from the exit polls.
48% of the country, Dana, saying that the handling of the pandemic is going well. That's a very high number considering that empirically it is not going well. I mean, there is no health official who says it's going well at all.
And it is a different number than what we've been seeing in the polls up until now. But this is a poll, the exit poll is of those who have voted. And, you know, if I am in the Trump campaign, I am looking at that and saying, well, that's better than we thought it would be.
Yeah.
Because despite this, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly right. That is
a
where
little bit higher.
It's better. It's better than
and because look, as bullish as the president and his aides have been in public about the coronavirus, that's not how they feel in private. They understand that this is a referendum on the president, and in large part because of the coronavirus. So, in that sense. Maybe it is surprising, and I'm guessing if I'm going to contact people in the Trump campaign, they're probably going to say the same thing.
Yes. The exit polls showed almost 50% that people are being much more reasonable on how they're looking at the coronavirus. If we didn't know what it was, and we're doing this flying by the seat of our pants, how do we blame anybody for a response? The masks were never there. The ventilators, a la Cuomo, were never there. The system never got overwhelmed. And that was the whole point of the lockdowns, right? We were trying not to overwhelm the systems. We didn't want our frontliners to get overwhelmed. I think we did a damn good job. Somewhere along the line, we went from not overwhelming the system so we can handle it like a strong country, and our frontliners had a chance to save lives. So we went from not overwhelming the system to saving lives. And there's where we made our mistake. We locked down the system, we locked down our country, and much of it remains locked down. When it's our time, it's our time. I'm sorry. We can do the best we can. We can take our precautions. We can help each other. And that's how you handle an epidemic at best. But right now, at a 99.6 survival rate, for those who catch it and recover, it's a hard sell to tell anybody that anybody that's willing to be reasonable that it was handled wrong. Again, coronavirus response cannot be worse than the virus itself. Thank you for joining me. Check me out. Facebook, Ada Jet Noise. Find me. 3 words, Ada, ADA, Jet Noise. Find me, like me, follow me. On YouTube, Ada Jet Noise or Morning Flyby. Look it up. Subscribe. Tell them that you love me. Parler. Ada Jet Noise on Parler. Apparently where free speech is still a thing. I'm actually doing pretty good on Parler. My numbers are actually surprisingly good, so somebody likes me there. And on Rumble, had no idea it existed. Now I do. I had no idea about it, and it had no idea about me, and now we're in love. Rumble, Ada Jet Noise on Rumble. So check me out there. Subscribe, follow, what have you. Again, thank you for joining me. Hopefully, it'd be nice if I can share with you some real election results, and we'll know who the president is together, and then we can laugh and or cry, depending on who you are. Till then, big hug. Be good. Be still. Enjoy your life.